Spiritual Teaching 153. Love each other. 1. Once again I present myself among you to give you my teaching of the third era. 2. Truly I tell you, your faith in my communication through human understanding will sustain you in the tests of your life, because my word will accompany you everywhere. Do not be like some of those who were with you listening to me, those who were tired of hearing me, left without having come to know the inheritance they carried with them. 3. The moment will come when all of you will have to answer for what I entrust to you. 4. You who are present, with your perseverance, are showing your will and determination to follow my footprint. I contemplate how the love that existed in your heart towards my divinity increases with your elevation and practice of charity. 5. I am the love of the Father who speaks to your spirit, filling it with peace. My word purifies you, because it reaches the depths of your being. She is salvation because she keeps you from the bad ways, to offer you the path of truth, and through it, when listening to me, you arrive at ecstasy, forming a single heart and a single will. 6. I am speaking to all humanity, making the call for regeneration to the sinner, who is inveterate in vices, because I also have a place reserved for them among the ranks of my soldiers. 7. My word, eternal and universal, when humanized through the spokesperson, is limited, but never loses its essence of perfection. My word does not hurt or punish. Why believe that I punish, when it is man who sows his way with thorns, and then goes over them? 8. Recognize that everything that exists lives within a law, and that he who deviates from the straight path by disobeying the commands that govern you, he is instantly judged by the law, so that he will recognize his error. 9. Observe for a moment the universe that surrounds you, and you will admire the harmony, obedience, and precision with which all kingdoms and all beings fulfill their destiny. Do you think that my work would be perfect if everything created did not obey a single law? You who are my masterpiece are endowed with free will, intelligence, and all the powers that integrate the spirit, so that through the merits achieved with the development of your virtues, you can conquer spiritual perfection, in which state you will experience peace, bliss, and find the full light that I have prepared for you, so that you reach the promised land. 10. The path that leads to the right hand of the Father is so narrow and straight that he himself became man in Jesus, to trace to the human spirit the path of perfection, with the traces of his sacrifice and of the blood shed by him. 11. That path, which is the law of love, will not be erased by human ideas, because for every spirit is the moment of his redemption and finds it only in God. 12. Today you are listening, and tomorrow, when I no longer manifest myself in the same way, you will follow me along the paths of the world, imitating me. If you were to have any moment of weakness, my word will surprise you on the way, and when you remember my teaching of love, you will find salvation, continuing your mission to love your brothers. 13. In this time, I have come to you intangible and invisibly, and you have only perceived me with your spiritual sensitivity. I have tested your faith in this way. I have granted you many manifestations for which you have affirmed your belief. Your spiritual eyes have been opened, and your senses are awakening to understand me and then testify. 14. If your lips have not spoken of my truth, if your heart still doubts, the Spirit loves me and believes. It is eager to reach me, and in his prayer he asks me for light to convince flesh, strength, and patience to bend it. There is still no unification between spirit and matter, and many times you have been defeated by its whims, putting your faculties and will at his service. But that is why I have come today to feed him, to make him strong, and to give him back his inheritance. 15. I have always looked for the Spirit and I have spoken to him of the eternal life that is his purpose. He belongs to me, and that is why I claim him. I have put you on the path of evolution and restitution, because it has been my will that it be raised by merits and that with them it is perfected. The body has a short lifetime. Once his mission is accomplished, he gives me his tribute, and the spirit continues its route without stopping. 16. Today is the time of greatest restitution for the spirit. My trial has been opened and works of each have been put in a balance. If that judgment is great and painful for the spirits, next to them is the Father, who before being judge is Father and loves you. The love of Mary, your intercessor, also surrounds you. 17. My children await me in the midst of the chaos in which they live today. Knowing that I have to come, they are afraid because they have broken my law. And when I approached them and asked them if they recognized me, they answered me thus: Lord, I forgot your mandates. I descended to materiality and got confused. But today that your voice calls me, I am going to make amends and to let your light guide me. 18. And when I come to you who form the chosen people, to ask you to receive me into your bosom, the ready Spirit has answered, come to model and perfect our being with your teaching. And while the Spirit knows its destiny and accepts it, matter intervenes and the fight begins between the two, in which you will do the necessary merits for your salvation. 19. Long ago I announced to you the events that you have watched take place. I told you, watch and pray, because the day will come when war and other calamities will be unleashed. And your incredulous heart said to me, Father, will it be possible for you to allow war between us? If you have manifested your love, sweetness, and forgiveness, when I announced these events, it was for you to prepare and pray for all humanity, to enter a life of recollection and contrition, and in the bosom of your home you would make peace and practice my doctrine. All this I asked you so that the pain was attenuated. I did not want to tell you that this way you would avoid what was written, but I allowed you to be intermediaries between the world and my spirit. 20. And all that had been predicted appeared in the year 1939. Strong nations overwhelming the weak, others more strong uniting to fall on the first, and the war advancing, destroying everything in its path and sowing pain. The prayer of some of my disciples was this: Lord, we hope this word is not fulfilled. Others awaited made to believe. And my word has been fulfilled, and today you ask me if all danger will have disappeared. And I tell you, this peace that you see today is apparent that what has happened is only the beginning of the pains that will afflict the world. 21. You are still fragile, my disciples, because having my word, you still doubt. My Father's Spirit awaits the revival of humanity. Each of you must be a teacher of this teaching in the heart of your home, so that when the day of the test arrives, be prepared and be strong. You look close to you at the reluctant hearts that have made me cry. And in your suffering you have said to me, why do you test me in the bosom of mine because of your doctrine? But I tell you, that brother of yours who has not understood your ideal will be converted by your patience and charity, and will later be your best friend and confidant. 22. Those who will hear my last words are drawing near. In a short time they will penetrate into the essence of my doctrine. Give them the best place, heal them, and do not stop them on their path of evolution. When you see their gift unfold, hastily let them advance, and their arm will help you to hold the cross, and you will all take steps forward. 23. O beloved Israel, on whom I have poured out my word time after time, you have not yet understood how much I love you. Many times you have been moved by listening to my word and receiving my wonders. You have promised me that you would follow me until the end. Blessed are you. Trust in me to always watch over you. You do not inhabit a world of perfect peace, but in it you will catch a glimpse of the kingdom promised to your spirit. My love is with you. Seek me as Father and not as judge. Prepare your spirit. so that when you come before me, there will be peace and satisfaction in you and joy in my spirit. 24. In all times I have manifested myself as Father. In the beginning of the world I spoke spiritually to men. They saw me descend many times to advise or correct them. I spoke to Adam, and he listened to me humbly. I went before Abel, and how much grace I found in that creature. But I also approached Cain, because I love everyone, the just and sinners. I sent great spirits that carried my light, to teach and reveal the law and the divine commands. But how few of them knew how to awaken his spirit and listen to the voice of his conscience. Some, when they sinned, they knew how to repent. But others recoiled from Jehovah's severe and inflexible law. But my law was in everyone. And even though my light illuminated them, I contemplated that there were more who sinned, that the evil had grown and had caused much damage to the spirit. Then I allowed a great purification to take place. Only Noah and his family survived, and they were the seed, the beginning of a new world. I made a pact with the just man, and the iris of peace appeared, in sign of alliance. 25. Soon their descendants fell into temptation again. The hearts that had received an inheritance of love, they became insensitive and hard. It was necessary for their redemption. A palpable example. Christ, then he became man and dwelt among you. He ate your bread, lived and suffered the rigors of your life. He did wonders to make himself recognized. He showed you the way. You lived close to him and watched him pass by the world, and when the end of their mission had come, how few were prepared to contemplate their ascension, to understand his sacrifice and march without hesitation along the path traced with his blood of love and forgiveness. 26. Today I come for the second time as a teacher. My gaze is looking for those who have to follow me, those who have to prepare to speak to the world of my coming as a comforting spirit. But with pain I contemplate the tender and innocent hearts that have become hard. The crying has been so great that it has dried up the fountains from the eyes of men. There is no love for me or pity for one another, and my Father's Spirit suffers for humanity. My gaze lingers on each heart, and I only receive the pain that you have collected through this time. 27. The Master tells you, you have not known how to take advantage of the gifts that I have given you. But the time will come when you will better understand this teaching and feel very close to your Father, and you will thank me. 28. Pray, watch and intercede for the world, and when the time of struggle comes, arise and spread my light. Pour out strength and comfort, ward off diseases, do wonders, so that when you reach the end of your journey, come to me full of merits and present yourselves in peace before me. 29. But how long will this people realize the spiritual mission it has before the other peoples of the earth? 30. I have told you that you do not want to be more than anyone else, nor do you pretend to be before anyone else. However, your destiny is great, and even the nation that lends you its shelter has to do its part in this mission. 31. I have come to teach you to give the good news to your brothers so that when the moment is arrived, take my message to the other nations. But I see you still sleeping, without you sensing the importance of your mission. 32. Do you want it to be pain, misery, disease, hunger, those that wake you up from your lethargy? 33. The cup that you drink is very bitter, and the chains that you drag are very heavy. You are still the captive people of the Pharaoh. The more you yearn for your freedom, the greater the tasks that are imposed on you, and the greater your tribute. How far will your bitterness go? 34. It is necessary that those who are awake shake the rest of their lethargy. Those who are still asleep, tell them that the Lord, as in that time, is waiting for them on the mountain to make them hear his Father's voice and teach them the path that leads to freedom and peace. You and others must understand my word, because if not, you will ask, who is Pharaoh? What is the slavery that I am talking about? In which mount will the Lord speak to us? Where will the path that he is going to point us lead us? 35. But it is necessary that you learn to analyze the figurative sense in which I am speaking, so that later you can explain it to your brothers without getting confused. 36. The environment in which you live, which surrounds you at this time, is the Pharaoh of this age, is saturated with selfishness, hatred, greed, and all the sins of humanity. 37. The chains are your needs that force you to submit to the reigning selfishness, injustice, and even to wickedness. 38. The mountain where I wait for you is in the conscience of each one of you. I want to be heard in your heart, because my law is written in it. 39. The road is the route that will lead you to conquer the desired peace and that freedom that you long for, which is the compliance with that same law. 40. Do you now see the significance of your mission? Pray, people, that your nation awakens to my call. Watch, so that when the crowds seek you, you may know how to go out to meet them, stimulating them with your example. 41. Analyze my teachings, disciples. Come to listen to my word, because these times will not return. Still today you can hear me through the understanding of the spokespersons. But this time will pass, and a new phase will present my work. 42. Enjoy listening to my teaching and store it in your heart. Make a chest out of your memory that keeps the essence of my lessons as if it were a jewel of priceless value. 43. Today I have returned among you to the astonishment of some, the disbelief of others, and the faith of others, and you expect the Master to tell you about the teachings that I gave you in times past. 44. Hear me, God, from the beginning of human life, manifested himself to man as law and justice. The divine spirit materialized before the smallness and innocence of the first creatures, making them hear their humanized and understandable voice. The sensitivity of those beings he awoke, until he knew how to interpret the Father through nature. When they lived in obedience, they experienced the divine caress through all that surrounded them. They also knew about stumbling and bitterness, which indicated that they had failed before their Lord. I made the light of conscience shine in them, which was to be in the journey, the beacon, the judge, and the consolation. Intuitively, the first men knew that that invisible Father always ordered the good, and shows law in which they should live. You called that inner light, the natural law. 45. Later, when man multiplied, and in his multiplication he forgot to comply with that law, ignoring the voice of his conscience and turning away all fear, the Father, who had followed the Son in his exile, sent him men endowed with high spirits, by virtue and wisdom, to remind them of the path of which they had moved away. 46. Do you not remember the righteous Abel, whose blood I still claim? He died along with his offering. 47. And to the fervent Noah, who enduring the mockery of the people, announced the will of his Lord to the last moment. They, with their actions, reminded you of my existence and my law. I later sent you Abraham, an example of obedience and infinite faith in his Lord, a virtuous Isaac and a faithful and strong Jacob, to form the trunk of the tree, from one of whose branches Moses, the one whom I sent to represent me and give my law to men. 48. In Moses, mankind contemplated a reflection of my majesty, saw in him justice, righteousness, strength unshakable, faith, obedience, and charity. If before the weaknesses of his people you saw how angry he broke the tables of the law, having just received them from the Father, you also know that I restored them in his hands instantly, to make you understand that only one divine law will govern you at all times, that of the invisible God. 49. When times had passed on humanity and it needed to know more deeply its Father, he, tireless in his work of love, sent his prophets to the world to announce to humanity that he would come to earth to become a man. to make him feel his love and teach with his birth, his life and his death, what a perfect life is. But while some believed in my prophets, others doubted and gave them death, with whose sacrifice they prepared my way. 50. The word of my envoys shook the hearts of those who sinned, because they announced the arrival of him that with his truth he would expose falsehood. While men said, God advises the good, the perfect works of love, forgiveness and justice, because it is perfect, but we humans cannot be. Jesus was born. 51. It was the same God who came into the world to give his law and his teaching through a body of flesh. Today you would like to know how the body of Jesus was formed, to which I tell you, you must settle for knowing that body was engendered and conceived by the infinite love that I have for you. From that moment Jesus began to drain the cup of bitterness that he was to drink to the end. He went through all human vicissitudes, enduring the trials, knowing the work, the persecution, the long days of hunger, thirst and loneliness, feeling the passage of time on the body and closely contemplating human life with its virtues and his miseries, until the moment came to get up to speak and do powerful works. 52. Then I let the men come to listen to me, to look at me, to scrutinize my material and spiritually. I let the man reel my body in search of the divine until he contemplated my bones and my side opens to flow water. I let the world make me its prisoner, its king of mockery, its plunder, and thus led me to the scaffold carrying the cross of ignominy, as a thief to die as man in Jesus. 53. That's how I wanted to die, on my cross, to teach you that I, your God, and not only the God of the Word, but also that of works. But those who saw me die and contemplated my agony and heard my last words, they said, how can the Son of God die? How is it that being the Messiah, we have seen him fall and we have heard complain? 54. Men were asking for one more test, and in my love I gave it to them. If I was born as a man of the bowels of a holy woman, to pay tribute to human motherhood, I also went down to the bowels of the earth to pay tribute to her bosom and conclude my mission as a man there. But the bowels of the earth could not keep that body that did not belong to him, but to the bosom of the Father from where it had come, and to him it returned. 55. Now I say to you, if when you contemplated Jesus dying on the cross, you doubted his divinity, can you tell me, what man, on the third day after death, has left his grave without opening it and has ascended with his own body towards the heavens? No one. I did it because I am life, because neither in spirit or in matter could I die. 56. The doubt was not only among the mobs. Even among my disciples there was one who doubted that I could present myself among them after death. That was Thomas, who said that only by sinking his fingers into the wound from my side, I would believe that was possible. He hadn't quite said it when I made him hear my greeting. My peace be with you. And that one still had the strength to approach and look at the bottom of my wound and touch it with his hand, to believe that in truth the Master had died and risen. 57. Blessed are those who believe without first having seen. Yes, my children, because true faith is also a look contemplating what neither the mind or the senses can discover. Only faith can discover in man some of the mysteries of creation. 58. And he who rose from the dead comes at this time in the Spirit full of glory to speak to you again. 59. Who among those who dwell on earth today know that a new era has opened before humanity? With certainly only those who have heard this word know that in 1866 a new time was born, that of the Holy Spirit. 60. By the understanding of Rojas spoke the spirit of Elijah, the foreigner, who communicated in this way to prepare the way of the Lord. 61. Through that just man, I opened the book of my teachings, of my new revelations before humanity. inviting her to take another step along the way. 62. At this time I have come on the cloud, that is, spiritually and invisibly to human eyes. That cloud is the symbol of the beyond, from where I send a ray of light that illuminates these understandings by which I communicate. This has been my will, and that is why it is a perfect work. I know the man, and I love him because he is my son. I can use him because I have created him, because that's what I made him for. I can manifest myself in man because I formed it precisely to glorify myself in it. 63. 63. The spirit of man is my only and true image because it has life, intelligence, will, and powers as your God. Before manifesting myself in this time and this form, I search the hearts of men. I ask those who they feed their spirit within the different religions, "Are you satisfied?" To which they reply, "We are hungry and thirst for you." 65. They had long searched for the image and face of their father without finding him. They waited for that miracle, and the miracle was not realized, as if they had not found a bread that would truly feed their spirit. But I had prepared this tree, this source, and these lands to make a call to the multitudes hungry and thirsty for peace, eager for love and to feel loved. And when they have come to my presence, they have heard this word, which is manifested in the same forms in all the rooms that exist and is, every time it vibrates, the sweet touch of the hand that awakens the sleeper and the friendly voice that advises. 66. After listening to me for some time, you have understood that you cannot be the worshippers who only live in contemplation, and you have told me, "Lord, by eating this fruit that you have given us, we have contracted with your divinity the duty of cultivating your seed and spreading it." 67. When you feel that your master is still carrying his cross of love, you cry and come to tell me, "Lord, let us carry your cross. Let the gall and vinegar be drunk by us." And I tell you, just as you have requested, so it has been. Don't you see how heavy your mission has been in recent times? Don't you see how better it has been this time, and that what you had never suffered are you living now? Keep showing this agreement and pray. 68. I have chosen you humble, because if I spoke through the mouth of wise men, theologians and scientists, I would not be believed. Instead, by means of the simple, I will surprise humanity. Who has brought such great crowds? You, ones and others, because you have known how to bear witness. Here are those who said to you, "How is it possible that Christ is in the world?" Those who exclaim, "It is not possible for the Master of all perfection to communicate through a man." Are here those who doubted your words and promises. 69. People. If Jesus with his blood watered the seed that the Father sowed in the first era in the hearts of men, today my divine Spirit pours out the dew of his grace on those fields to make them bear fruit. 70. The day of my departure is approaching. My stay among you in this time has been longer than that of the times past, longer than I was with Israel in the desert, longer than Jesus lived among men. Who among those who have listened to me in this time has felt poisoned by this word? Who is the one because of that has she lost herself in vice or confusion? Truly I tell you, if she has not done you good, why have you not made room? It has not caused you any harm either. 71. Remember that I once told you, I have not created you to be like plants parasites. I don't want you to settle for not hurting anyone. I want your satisfaction to be achieved by having done well. Anyone who does not do good, being able to do it, has done more harm than he who does not know how to do good works, therefore, because it is the only thing that could give. 72. Thus has he spoken to you on this day, who, having died to the world, rose again to the glory of the Father to come in spirit to you in this third era. 73. Here is my resurrection on the third day. in which Christ presents himself to his new disciples to tell them again, love each other. My peace be with you.